Hello, boys and girls. As you can see, I'm in my comfy clothes today to read to you because why not? Why not sit down in my comfy clothes and pick up a good book? So we are going to continue with The Thief of Always today, and we have had some crazy things happen recently. Harvey has returned to the Hood house, or to the Hood house. It's pretty much the Hood house, to the Holiday house to take down the servants of Mr. Hood and Mr. Hood. And what happened yesterday in chapter 20 was that Karna was alive and Harvey killed her. And Mr. Hood is still alive and pretty much is called Harvey a thief too. And so that Harvey was a thief of lives and Mr. Hood was a thief of time. So they were both thieves of always. So we are left off for chapter 21. This one is called Tricks and Temptations. "You've done well," said the smiling face awaiting him at the top of the stairs. "I wondered where you'd gone to," Harvey said to Rictus. "Always ready to serve," came the unctuous reply. "Really?" said Harvey, stepping down off the chair and approaching the creature. "Of course," said Rictus. "Always." Now that he was closer to the man, Harvey saw the cracks in his veneer. He was plastering on a smile and smothering his words in butter and honey, but it was a sour smell of fear that oozed from his sickly skin. "You're afraid of me, aren't you?" Harvey said. No, Rictus insisted. "I'm respectful, that's all. Mr. Hood thinks you're a bright boy. He's instructed me to offer whatever you want to make you stay." He spread his arms. "The sky's the limit." "You know what I want." "Anything but the years, thief. You can't have those. You won't even need them if you stay and become Mr. Hood's apprentice. You'll live forever, just like him." He dabbed at the sweat beads on his upper lip with a yellowed handkerchief. "Think about it," he said. "You might be able to kill the likes of Karna. Or me. But you'll never hurt Hood. He's too old, too wise, too dead." "If I stayed," Harvey said. Rictus's grin spread. "Yes," he purred. "Would the children in the lake go free?" "Why bother about them?" "Because one of them was my friend," Harvey reminded him. "You're thinking of little Lulu, aren't you?" Rictus said. "Well, let me tell you, she's very happy down there. They all are." "No, they're not," Harvey raged. "The lake's foul, and you know it." He took a step toward Rictus, who retreated as if in fear of his life, which perhaps he was. "How would you like it?" Harvey said, stabbing his finger in Rictus's direction, "living in the cold and the dark." "You're right," said Rictus, raising his hands in surrender. "Whatever you say." "I can set them free now," Harvey replied. "And if you won't, then I will." He pushed Rictus aside and started down the stairs, 2 at a time. He didn't have a clue what he was going to do when he got down to the lake. Fish were fish, after all, even if they'd once been children. If he tried to take them out of the lake, they'd surely drown in the air. But he was determined to somehow save them from Hood. Rictus came after him down the flight, chattering like a clockwork salesman. "What do you want?" he said. "Just imagine it and it's yours. How about your own motorcycle?" As he spoke, something gleamed on the landing below, and the sleekest motorcycle human eyes had ever seen rolled into view. "It's yours, boy," Rictus said. "No thanks," Harvey said. "I don't blame you," Rictus said, kicking the motorcycle over as he sailed past it. "How about books? Do you like books?" Before Harvey could reply, the wall in front of him lifted like a great brick curtain, revealing shelf upon shelf of leather-bound volumes. "The masterpieces of the world," Rictus said, "from Aristotle to Zola. No?" "No," said Harvey, hurrying on. "There's got to be something you want," Rictus said. They were heading toward the final flight of stairs now, and Rictus knew he didn't have very long before his prey was out in the open air. "You like dogs?" Rictus said, as a litter of yapping pups scampered up the stairs. "Pick one. Hey, have them all." Harvey was tempted, but he stepped over them and on. Something more exotic, maybe, Rictus said, as a flock of brilliantly feathered parrots descended from the ceiling. Harvey waved them away. Too noisy, huh? Said Rictus. You want something quiet and powerful. Tigers, that's what you want, tigers. No sooner than then, they paddled into view in the hallway below. 2 white tigers with eyes like polished gold. Nowhere to keep them, Harvey said. That's practical, Rictus conceded. I like a practical kid. As the tigers bounded off, the telephone on the table beside the kitchen door began to ring. Rictus was down the flight in 2 springs and at the table in another 2. Listen to this, he said. It's the president. He wants to give you a medal. No, he doesn't, Harvey said, tiring of this rigmarole now. He was at the bottom of the stairs and crossing to the front door. You're right, said Rictus, ear to the phone again. He wants to give you an oil field in Alaska. Harvey kept walking. No, I got that wrong. He wants to give you Alaska. Too cold. He says, how about Florida? Too hot. Boy, you're a difficult guy to please, Harvey Swick. Harvey ignored him and turned the handle of the front door. Rictus slammed down the phone and raced toward him. Wait up, he hollered. Wait up, I'm not done. You've got nothing I want, Harvey said, hauling up open the front door. They're all fakes. What if they are? Said Rictus, suddenly hushed. So the sun's out there. You can still enjoy it. And let me tell you, it takes a lot of magic to conjure up all these shams and hoaxes. Mr. Hood's really sweating to find you something you like. Ignoring him, Harvey stepped out onto the porch. Mrs. Griffin was standing on the lawn, with Stu Cat in her arms, squinting up at the house. She smiled when she saw Harvey emerge. I heard such noises, she said. What's been going on in there? I'll tell you later, said Harvey. Where's Wendell? He wandered off, she said. Harvey cupped his hands around his mouth and yelled, Wendell! Wendell! His voice came back to him from the face of the house, but there was no reply from Wendell. It's a warm afternoon, said Rictus, idling on the porch. Maybe he went swimming. Oh, no, Harvey murmured. No, not Wendell. Please not Wendell. Rictus shrugged. He was a goofy little kid anyhow, he said. He'll probably look better as a fish. No! Harvey yelled up at the house. This isn't fair. You can't do this. You can't. Tears started to cloud his eyes. He wiped them away with his fists. They were both useless. Fists and tears. He couldn't soften Hood's heart with weeping, and he couldn't bring down the house with blows. He had no weapon against the enemy but his wits, and his wits were about at an end. And that is the end of chapter 21. So not much has really happened during this chapter. So I want to kind of think about everything that we've been talking about. And I want to think about how Harvey's feelings towards the house have changed. So we were starting this chart. Let me get out my marker. We were starting this chart way back in the beginning. Whoop! Forget that just happened. We were starting this chart way back in the beginning of the book, a long time ago. And we were talking about how a character's feelings can change when they're in different settings. And their feelings can be different within those settings. So we first talked about Harvey's feelings while he was at home. And originally, Harvey Swick's house made him feel depressed, bored, lonely, angry. And I'm going to add to that because when he was home, he felt a different way. So I'm going to say now it makes him feel joyful, relaxed, calm. Now, that's his house. So now we're talking about the holiday house. Hopefully you can see me. Now we're talking about the holiday house and how it makes Harvey feel. So character feelings. Mr. Hood's holiday house. How does it make Harvey feel? How does Harvey feel when he's at this place and in this setting? So originally, I said that it made Harvey feel hopeful, optimistic, and happy. Okay, so that was right when he got to the holiday house the first time, not the second time. In the middle, he started to grow suspicious and worried, and he was a little bit anxious. And now at the end, how does it make Harvey feel? It makes him feel regretful, maybe, brave, and I'm going to say selfless. So what I really want you to pay attention to when you're reading a fantasy text, and this can be in any text really, but since our focus on this unit is fantasy, the genre of fantasy, that's where I'm going to kind of narrow in. So when you're reading a fantasy text, really think about from beginning to end how our characters develop and how their feelings, their motivations change throughout the text. How do their feelings and behaviors change when they're in different settings? So originally Harvey's feelings for the holiday house were a certain way. Then in the middle, they became a different way. And now at the end, they're completely different altogether. So characters' feelings can definitely change and develop because of different events that have occurred and by suspending judgment of characters and places. So since we suspended judgment of the holiday house by not thinking that it was all this great place from the beginning, we said, you know what, we're going to take a step back and we're going to say, right now it seems that way, but in the future it might not. And we found out that it certainly is not what it's cracked up to be. So we're going to continue with the next chapter in the next video, and we will continue to develop the theme, talk about what happens to Mr. Hood, Wendell, Lulu, and kind of see how the story ends. So I hope you enjoyed that and be ready for the next chapter. And I hope you enjoyed the comfiness, and I will be joining again for the next video in my comfy clothes.